Up from the previous tape, and we had gotten to the point where we had laid this scoop out, made a little prototype fuselage box on the previous tape, and I wanted to lay out the sides here. Now the only thing I ran into so far, and I know this is why I've made a prototype box, is this is not going to be my favorite way to do this. And I've already come up with some idea that I want to try instead of that, because I've let it sit for a while. Now what I'm going to try is this. I had this supported here, but I certainly can cut it out. And if I know on this piece I have to cut it out, maybe this is going to be easier to do this way, is to just leave a hole. Again, we're inventing this as we go along. We could sand that down now. And I need to take this piece. Let me clean off all these edges, because I don't want to look into the scoop and see a fuselage former. I want to see how far back I have to make that go. In fact, it looks like what I need to do is just go back with a flat piece of wood. So if that's the case, what I'll do is I'll make this piece, the piece that came out, I'm going to need it to end like this, and I'm going to need edges on both sides. So let me see if that's going to be just another way to do this. Again, this is all conceptual. We want to do it now, not on the final part. And in the real plane, there'll be a former back here, so we can end it at a former. This is why I like doing it this way. It's just more fun than cutting up the plane over and over again. So I thought I'd make this little mock-up with the side. Now the side fins will be on the outside if I do it this way, because this concentrates your vision, and you don't look in and see the inside of the fuselage. You see what's at the end of the scoop this way. And you start out thinking making a scoop is going to be a 5-minute job, and when you're done, you wind up, you spend 3 days, and you're an old man when you're done. Well, I'm an old man when I started. Now by doing it this way and making like a channel on the real fuselage, this solves all of the issues of. And again, we're just looking for a concept here. First off, it solves a lot of the little issues that I started out with of keeping that shape. I still need to line that edge with, I need to line this edge with 64th plywood, but it certainly gives me a lot of choices. Now that scoop is a little bigger than I wanted it to be. Not to worry, I'm just going to slice off a piece. Now by altering this dimension, I'm in essence altering that whole thickness. Boy, I remember putting in probably 100 hours on those Testarossa scoops, but boy, when they were done, I thought they were pretty cool anyway. Now that's still a little on the big side. So again, I'm just going to cut. You can do this infinitely until you arrive at what you think a thickness is. Then once I have that thickness, when I do the real plane, if I use this method, I can just measure this piece. Now I haven't glued it yet, but that even looks a little bit more than what it should be. But I can see I've learned a couple of things. This plywood piece has to come at least an inch forward, because otherwise you can look in and see that piece of the fuselage. So that's lesson 1 to learn. Lesson 2 is we need to predetermine what the thickness, again if we use this method. And we also need to account for up here, this is going to have to ultimately come flat with the fuselage side, so I need these pieces only taper up to about the last inch. But anyway, from what this is the better part of a day going into this. But again, the reason I want to spend all this time now is because it's just easier to make a decision up than after you cut the plane. And cutting the plane, then it's, then you got to live with it. So let me tack this together and see how I like it. So with this all tacked together, and looking at this relative to, let me just bring out the drawing, get an idea of where we wound up with this. Concept number 1. The things I learned from doing a mock-up is that this piece has to be a lot longer. This piece has to be at least an inch, because I can really look in there and see that, and my vision wouldn't be obscured for probably, this piece has to be 1 inch. So what I'm going to do, may sound, this just makes it easier for me to remember this stuff. Then I need to get this dimension, because that looks about the right side, roughly. Then I need to go up here These are just my notes since I'm going to throw this away anyway. This is just the concept part. Just gives me some idea of how this is evolving. Now the other concept that I wanted to look at, I wanted to use basically the same shape, or a similar shape, and I wanted to have a curved piece go in. Instead of the piece that we normally use, I wanted to have a little bit of a curve. But that would mean that this piece is going to be like a bullet hole. So what I need to do is I just need to, first off, to estimate it, make an estimate of what that shape would be, even though I don't know what the shape would be, and then either mold or get a piece of balsa wood in there. But because we're doing concepts today, and we're certainly not going to get any flying today with the wind the way it is, I figured I'm going to lay this out, try to come up with a decision by the end of the night how I want to do the scoops, because the next step on the ship itself is to hollow the blocks and get the scoops in. Now I had to interpolate this a little bit into what I thought might be that shape. I think it's going to wind up with more of a taper, but I wanted to look at least the concept of it starting that way. So what I did, and I just put a rough cut in the box, and now I want to look at, here's the other thing, what that piece would look like. I need to get a piece of cardboard or thin balsa to see what it's going to look like as you look into it this way, because we know what this, I'll call this the square one, we know what the round one is, and probably this would get tapered further forward. Now I don't really have any idea what that shape is going to look like when I get it done, although I could just rough out a piece of paper here just to get a look at it. So I can see right away that's going to be an issue to deal with, is I don't get, that piece is going to have a different angle on it. So maybe I should start at this end, and it's going to be the biggest in the back. It's going to look something like this. I wonder if they do this down at Pininfarina. Take a bunch of cardboard out. I don't think so, Wendy. Well, let's just, and we'll play around with this idea here for a while, because we need to get that piece that's a little bit closer. We need it to scoop out into that area before we can figure out where this piece would go. So this just gives us a little start to what that shape's going to look like. Now by looking inside, I can see about what that shape would look like, and I see I need to get it bigger out at the end. Maybe what I need to do is make this out of balsa wood and put a little rib on the end there, just to hold the shape. So the next step is to make the rib in the back. That'll ultimately be, and I'd have to trace this out to look at it. It would be kind of a half moon. Okay, so there's the little rib. Just some idea of what that shape is going to look like at the back. And I want to attach a piece of, let's see if I can get a piece of scrap balsa, this shape, to attach to that rib. And what that's going to allow me to do is connect it back here so you can't see down into the black hole into space. Again, and I just say this until I'm blue in the face, this doesn't happen overnight, but once you have a pattern, you can work with making a pattern. We could make this longer, we could make it shorter, we can put more of a curve, less. It looks like a stroke of genius that we're not working on a real plane now. So we wind up with something that, and I don't know if this is going to fit, But something, I don't know if it's probably going to split here. But actually what I'll do is if I go with this system, I'll mold up some various diameters of wood. So this already has a pre-curve in it. See, this is not curved yet. But we'll just take a look at maybe getting that curve in there. So what I did, I put a little bit of Windex, just a slight amount on the back, and I'm going to hold this curve while this dries. Take 5 minutes or so. I'll have a cup of coffee just to get that curve in there, because I'm going to have to figure out how this is going to attach inside. See this? Whoops. This is going to be on an angle, so there's going to be a piece back here that, and this is like the things you don't anticipate right away. Just let it assume that curve a little bit. But again, we're using this whole day up. This is prototype day. I want to look at this because I want to think about this before I actually go ahead and do this. Now what I did, I cut a little door in the back so I can get in and get a look at how this is going to look once it's in place. Now I can see, again, this has to go pretty far back for that to disappear. Now I also wanted to see if this was possible. Again, concept stuff. And it's a totally different skill than carving a block. When we carve a block, we have infinite possibilities. Doing this, we have, well, somewhat, we're limited somewhat by how that shape is going to evolve. Now, we also could look at, this is what I was afraid was going to happen, and it is. I want this to come up, and right about here, this starts to become an interference fit. So what I need to do is, in essence, take some of this wood away and make that part of my pattern. And that's why it's easier to evolve these patterns in your mind's eye, really, than just imagine cutting up the plane this many times. Now it's going to be, I'm trying to figure out if this is flat, since we'd like to have either fiberglass or 64th plywood along that edge, or something. Again, when people see a scoop, if you look at an F4 Phantom, you look at the scoop, like on Billy Suarez's Phantom, you look at it and you go, ah, cool, he's got scoops. Really neat. What a Testarossa. And then you realize how many hours it took to do that. And you think, oh my God. Now I want that to come through, so I don't really care about this yet. See, I want that edge to be hard. Here's what I'm trying to do here, but it's not working. I need to leave more material. It's going to take a little bit of evolution to get this right. But I have that part okay. That part's okay. And I guess I could fill this in if I didn't get it right now. No, the top part can go all the way back. See, this is the stuff you don't realize until you do one. This is an unusual shape. This one can go all the way back. But again, I would evolve these patterns on, get them pretty close to what you want. And if that was going in there, that would be okay. Now it's this piece here. We'd need a little piece of scrap along here. Well, I'm not sure we couldn't do that. We couldn't build that up with air epoxy light, trying to make this easy. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tack glue this in place and then rough this out just to see how I like it. Again, all concept stuff. Okay, so everything is glued here now. Now I got to block sand this flat, of course. But the next thing is to figure out what these little pieces of scrap, because I probably could make this over if I made the pattern over about 6 times, but since this is just a prototype, I'm going to put a little piece of scrap in there for now. So now it's just a question of block sanding this all down, just get a rough idea how that's going to look. And I know when I make this pattern up, the thing I need to know is I need molded pieces of wood if I go with this, and I need to make a real accurate pattern out of a piece of wood. And then just put the real piece in there. And I also need to be able to somehow, and I guess I'll have the bottom block off, because the next step on this project is going to be to hollow blocks, get in there somehow so I can get that glue seam to be nice in there. But once it's all block sanded down, we'll see what it looks like. What I can see already from using this method, I can already spot a couple of things. Is we have to be real careful about getting this pattern edge right. That pattern edge is going to be a very critical thing. Also, and I didn't bother even putting this piece in because this piece would have to be on this side also. So I need to obviously, the things to learn from this little mock-up, this piece needs to be molded, needs to have a rib at the back. This needs to have that very thin defining edge. Now I'm just going to put a little bit nicer finish on this so I can kind of look at what it's going to look like, see up here, once it's all sanded in. Now what I did, I just put a little bit of Rust-Oleum just to look at this and get a look at what it's going to look like. It always looks different in black. You can get some kind, I'm trying to look at the concept here and see if I like this better. But I'm certainly going to think about it tonight. But here's what's happened is, all during the time that we've been working on the ARF project, and of course this is a continuation of it, one constant question comes up. And let me answer this on a storyboard while this is drying. And it's a common question, but you wonder why some people do this, but I guess with ARFs it's common. I just try to figure this out and see if you're guilty of this too. Now we've been doing the Strega ARF project about 3.5 weeks. During that time, and if you've followed through with all the videos from 742 on, you'll know. Pretty simple. We've created, and it's an ongoing list of things that, and I want to put this out because there's a lot of people that already are either flying their ARFs and they're calling me for information, and I like to be able to give them the DVD. It's a lot easier and quicker for me, and cheaper, than spending an hour on the phone. So I'm going to go over this one more time because this is an update. Now we've been exchanging information on our website. We've been exchanging it on this unique Strega ARF internet mailing list that I have. But one thing has really become crystal clear already. And I didn't anticipate this when we started with the ARF project. When a person buys an ARF, I don't know what the reason for this is. Maybe you know what the reason for this is, because I sure don't. I assumed in the very beginning, and I assumed wrong, that most people would consider their ARF to be one of their good planes. In fact, to be really honest about it, a lot of the people around here that have other planes that they've built, the ARF is better. And we don't need to go into names and addresses here, but I'm kind of disappointed because there's one common trait that all the ARF owners, except maybe for 10, have got. They go into this when it's time to select a motor. They either put the smallest engine they have, and we even have somebody that's trying to run a Tiger 51 for whatever reason, or they put the oldest, the weakest, or something they found on eBay. Now I'm not sure what that means. See, in another world, I would be thinking, well, that's not real smart. If you're going to build a plane, you don't look to put your oldest, crappiest, beat-up, run-down motor in it. You look for the best motor. Well, now what we've done is we've compared many, many ARFs already that I've flown, other people have flown, and the motor of choice is a Rojet 76. That's what's in my plane. I've had 2 different ones in there and they both run great. Many, many people have flown it. It's on video. But my Costello has, somewhere down the line, he's put in an ST60. Well, in my opinion, a lot of the things that are better about my ARF than Mike's ARF aren't the ARF at all. The motors are better. So when you get down into smaller and smaller displacement engines, that it has to work like a mule. To put a 51 in here, well, yeah, you could do it, and there's probably somebody eventually, before this is all over, is going to try to run a 40. I'm sure it's going to happen. But what's going to happen is, and this is really easy to figure out, the guys that have this setup are going to be able to power trim, and I'm going to do a little quick storyboard about it. They're just going to power trim the model in a very few flights. The guys that are running smaller diameter props, less power, they got a lot more work ahead of them. The guys that have, in my estimation, totally underpowered the plane, boy, you might be chasing that until you're my age. You might get it. I mean, if you're Paul Walker, you might be able to fly this with an 049, or if you're Yashenko, you can, but the thing is, most people that have an ARF want to make it easy. So what I'm saying is, and down here, anything down here is like good luck. I know some people will be able to do it. They're going to run pipes. They're going to run 25,000 RPM. But the problem is, the setup that I think makes it the easiest is this. And now the first thing somebody's going to say is, oh, Roger, so much money, I could buy this on eBay for $25. But then are you cheating yourself? Are you cheating? Who are you cheating? You're cheating the ARF. You're cheating yourself. Because that's the motor. If somebody finds out that that's the motor of choice, well, you can do it, but boy, is it going to be a lot of work. It's going to be more work, if nothing else. And from what I've seen of this, and the people, and I know a couple, Bob Zambelli's going to be putting a 4-stroke in his, and we're going to try some different 4-strokes and try to come up with some setups in the one Bob, but we don't have that information yet, and I'm trying to pass ARF information on the day I get it. But here's my point, and think this through. This is the motor of choice right now, in my estimation. Okay, and if you don't want to spend the money for a motor, maybe you just resign yourself to the fact that you'll have a little more trim work to do. But if you're looking to get this done in a hurry, don't fool around, go right to the head of the class, get the Rojet, be done with it. Now what I have, and I'm trying to make this make sense, when you have a plane that's got more power than you need, you can power trim it. You're going to get that real nice 242 brake. You're going to be able to run 14-inch props. You're going to have what Bob Lampione explained as constant line tension, but not excessive line tension. Now, this is a big thing because you trim for it. And what happens when you have plenty of power, just as an example, some of the things that you'll find you can do, the lead outs can go forward. If you notice where my lead outs wound up, they're way forward. You can do things like the Raby rudder. And if you're going to use anything bigger than a 12-inch prop, don't cheat yourself. Build it right in. And what these things allow you to do is not have a ton of tip weight in a plane to make line tension. They let you do it with the prop diameter. The plane becomes like a big helicopter in overhead maneuvers. And you've seen, I think on a previous video, we put on one of the flights where it was, I call it a survival flight, and I've got plenty of them on video, where you're lucky. The idea is just to get through a stunt pattern without crashing. Well, we've found that this combination, power trimming, letting the horsepower do all the work, getting a good quality motor run, running a 14-inch prop, it gives you a nice constant tension, slow speed. Now just think, As you go down in prop diameter, you've got to go up in speed to get a running start up into the overhead maneuvers. Well, yeah, you can do it. And yeah, can you tune a tune pipe engine? If you want to spend all day, you can. And if you want to spend $1,000, you can. But what I'm getting at is the best bang for the buck is to have the model power trimmed. Now, among other things, the thing that's nice about doing this is it's easy. Now we haven't done our total dedicated trim DVD yet because we're still gathering data. That's probably a month away. And we're talking to people every day. Have a 76 in the plane, have no problems at all. No issues whatsoever. The people that have 65s, a lot less issues. The people with 60s have issues. Smaller engines, issues. Now, it isn't that, and again, you go back to that. Mine originally had a Tiger 60 in it. But over the years, it had 4 strokes, it had bigger engines, it had George Aldrich engines, it had Sato 72s, it had that 90 laser, 90 from England. Well, what happened, and that's how I know this is true, is every time you make the engine bigger equals easier. And if you keep that in mind, you make the selection. And if you go and take the ARF, and if you put some old junky eBay engine that you found, or something that's been laying in your garage and the mice have been camping out in a Venturi or something, you just make it difficult for yourself. It doesn't mean you're not going to get it, but you're not going to get it as quick as the guy who antes up to the bar, gets himself a new engine. So at the end of a very cold, long day, what's the best way to think about the scoop options that you're going to put on your 90 ship? Well, just come up and run the trains for an hour or so, and the answer will be clear. By the way, maybe somebody will carve me up a little Strega ARF so we can take the B-25 and give him a rest. Nice Strega ARF would be nice. absolutely relaxing. And now we can decide how we want to do these scoops. Now we got another bucket full of tune pipes under production here, and that's going to hold us up just a little bit for the next week. But I did talk to Doran about the prop mold, and we're pretty much ready. I'm just waiting for a new gallon of resin to come in the mail. Hopefully going to be able to get a fresh gallon and start making props. We've got plenty of tow, that's for sure. But anyway, I had plenty of time now tonight to think about these scoops, and I made a corporate decision. And the decision is I still haven't made up my mind. And I just keep thinking, and I'm glad I made this little prototype thing up here. That really gave me some vision as to what that's going to look like. Because it's such a critical thing, I don't want to shortchange myself. See, this is the point that I'm making. Well, trying to picture what that would look like on there. But anyway, the next step on this, and I may as well do this and give myself another day of figuring this out. I can hollow out all these blocks. Now I don't need to go super hollow right now. The final hollowing is going to be when I actually decide how and when this whole thing's going to go together. But I can get them rough hollowed, and that would give me another day's work and another day to think about this scoop issue. Now, I happen to rent this movie, Winged Migration. I got to tell you, now I love the movie, of course, and it's a fabulous movie. anybody really would like a copy, I can make copies on my commercial copier. But here's the neat thing about that movie. I tried to figure out how they shot the footage. I mean, there's some things in there I just can't figure out how they got the camera in the position where they can be that close, but obviously that's a whole nother issue. Anyway, we'll hollow out the blocks today. This is the plan of action. I'll work on Richard's pipes. If I get done early, come back, hollow out some of these blocks. It's nice to be busy this time of year. I had the car all loaded up and ready to go, and it started raining. And as long as it's raining, I'm not going to even think about flying. We'll just have to wait for another day. Because I don't, first off, it's not my motor, it's Jose's motor, and this is Richard's one prototype header. I don't want to have any chance that we're going to have a problem. So I guess what we're doing, we'll have a shop day for hollowing blocks. Now, while I'm having my coffee this morning, my kids got me this book for Christmas. They got me 2 books. This is the one I like the most, of course, and I just thought I'd share a minute of this. This is while I get inspired and try to make some of these corporate decisions I have to make. This is one heck of a book. It's from Barnes & Noble. Just some of the pictures that are in this. See, this gets me started in the morning. Once I start reading, usually I'll have my coffee, spend 10-15 minutes, and then I'm inspired. I'm ready to go bomb Berlin. Now I remember, and it's making me think of that giant mural in the Smithsonian. When you walk into the Smithsonian with the B-17, there's some real nice artwork in this book. And by the way, anybody would like to borrow this, I'm more than happy to loan it out, as long as somewhere in the future I maybe get it back. And by the way, Joe and I are starting to gather our Spitfire stuff for our dihedral 90 Spitfire project. And I realized, as I say it, I realized half of it is out on loan somewhere, and I think Gary Lutz is the guilty party. See, we can identify him by who has Spitfires. The artwork in this book is really not to be believed, and these are all hand paintings. These are not photographs. Needless to say, there have been nights, late at night, when I've dreamed about a B-29 stunter. And I've done it more than once, so you know I'm losing my mind. Anyway, some really nice artwork. I think it's worth sharing, worth having. And the kids know I love this stuff, so boy, the collection grows. If you only knew how many of these books I have. But that mural in the Smithsonian, that was really something else. I'm not sure who did that, but boy, when you walk in the Smithsonian, it is impressive. Nice picture of Jacobone changing a prop on his B-17. Wonder if those are Doran props. Then of course my favorite, the Doolittle raid. When I originally made the B-25, I was thinking I'd do the Doolittle B-25, and then I said, I just like the silver one, the Tuskegee one better. I punked out on you, Jimmy. All right, talk about things you like to have. If you ever had a number one of these redone copies of the Doolittle raid, 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, and I know they've remastered it. Probably the one we like the best, the Spitfires. I know Joe Adamusco's as stoked as I am. Anyway, as we speak about photos, George Venturini is busy working on the mock-up of a Testarossa oil painting with the car and a plane, kind of a fantasy photo. Looking forward to seeing that. I'm sure everybody's seen that very prolific video or DVD where a cannon hits right here and a wing folds. This is very similar to that picture in the Smithsonian. You got to see that in real life, though, to really appreciate it. And I remember many years I'd get down to the shop and I'd just look at the razor blades and look at the sandpaper and not be in a mood to get started. But about 5 minutes of coffee and 5 minutes of a book like this and I'm ready to roll. And boy, if there was one talent I wish I had, it would be to paint stuff like this. I could paint like George does. He is unbelievable. Just did these pictures of the Zeppelins. Think of the talent it takes to do something like this, to do the detail and where the plane is blown away. And it's still holding together. Oh man. Take a close look at that picture. That's pretty cool. That's the little things. Well, everybody's got something that inspires them in the morning, I guess. Oh, I gotta show this to Jacobone. He's busy getting his wing into silver. He might be here. I'm not sure when he's going. He's got the first coat on already. One of the good memories I have of the 80 Nats is getting a flight on Jack Sheeks's Mosquito with the two Fox 35s for power. Still people buying those plans, even how many years is 25 years, 26 years later. When I look at some of these things, look at the detail in this. Now here's the motor from the plane. I mean, look at the detail. The guys that did these oil paintings, unbelievable detail. What a book. I'm sure Adamusco's ready to go. Joe, get carving, baby. I'm itching. I'm ready for next year's building season. I didn't even finish this year's plane. Now talk about one I'd like to have an oil painting of in my shop. Oh man, check this out. German trains getting bombed. That is, look at the detail on that locomotive. Unbelievable. Look over even up in my train room. Another good one for the train room. What a book. One of the books I don't think, if you have any interest in this kind of stuff at all, this might be the best one I have in my collection. And what's incredible is when you look at the detail in the pictures. The detail, the person that's painting this had to put the detail into this stuff. Another good one with the Germans with the dogs, and look at a bomber, German bomber on top. Anyway, it's a book I really have enjoyed and one you might want to add to your collection. See, I'm kind of leaning toward a version where all the curves are in to match the curved wingtips and the curved canopy. This shape is kind of like the original Cardinal. Everything is curved. Everything has a sweep to it. With a Testarossa one, what I'm afraid of is this is just going to look too much like the Testarossa and everybody's going to think it's another Testarossa. And we're not looking to relive last year's plane, even though we love it. We're looking to get a new one on board here. But I think, and I'll give this one more coat of black just to confirm my suspicions, I think we're going to come up with a version of this. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to carefully, while I'm hollowing out those bottom parts, I'm going to make an exact shape of this. I can do that with a piece of paper. And just make it a little bit longer. I think a little bit longer, it's going to it's going to have the look I ultimately would want to have. And I would not have known how that curve. Now, several people had mentioned that the idea of a curve instead of a flat. And now that I've seen it in 3 dimensions and I've got the fuselage right in front of me, I'm glad I made this little prototype yesterday, because it's given me a little vision or a little view of what this might be like. And I was just thinking here, I could make this just a little bit longer, because I know I don't even need that piece anymore. I can just take the impression of it. Now it's funny, as I go back, when I'm looking at these shapes, these are similar to shapes I used on the original Cardinal, and at the time it was a big innovative thing. It's not innovative anymore. It's a common shape. Actually, it is a shape you could use for wheel pants too. May keep this. I'm going to make a couple of patterns different with different tapers, because I think I can just get more taper in this. Make it go right up under the fillet. Might be cool. Again, it's always easier to make paper dolls and change them than it is to do the opposite of just go cut the plane on impulse. So if I do this, what will happen is every angle on here will be a curve. It'll have a very cardinal look to it, which is a side benefit. Very tradition look. We still don't have a name. I was originally thinking of calling it the Enzo, but it's not enough like the Enzo that would be appropriate. And that may look even better. Anyway, I'm going to come up with a couple of thoughts, a couple ideas before I make up the pattern that I'll actually use to cut this out. Right now I want to hollow those blocks out. And of course the final thing is, where is that going to lay out? I need to lay out where the wing would be. Now that curve there picks up the curve in the canopy, and of course the curve in the rudder. We're going to use a rudder very similar to the Testarossa. Everything on this has a curve and a flow to it. And I think that's going to be just a little bit more in keeping with than these straight lines. So I'm probably not exactly right, but I'm sure Cafaro has some ideas. I'm sure he's going to, when he sees this tape, he'll email me, "You don't know what you're doing, Arnowski." Now, as I'm cutting these apart, I know I need to do the hollowing, but I need to leave a little extra material, because in the final analysis, I want to take another maybe 30-second off the side in this and bring this into a perfect curve. You can't bring it into a perfect curve now. It just, realistically, that isn't going to happen. So I just need to when I pull these apart, real carefully. I know I'm going to need a little extra material here, a little extra material here to get that final curve that I want. And we've really used some good days that came our way just before Christmas, before the New Year. And now we're going to use some rainy days to get a little bit ahead on this project. But I have to remember, I can get everything here 1/8 of an inch, but I want to leave a little extra material here, because the final shape of the fuselage, I want to have no flats. I want it to have a complete, almost a complete curve. And we can do pretty much the rest of this, well, we'll do one block at a time. I just made myself a pile of scrap wood hollowing out this bottom block. I'm going to try to do one block at a time. I usually use the knife to just rough it out, make myself some nice curlicues for my hamster that I don't have, and then do the rest over by the sanding bench. Well, once I get all these carving marks out, let me get this coffee out of here. What I want to do, and I want to do it by the sanding bench, I want to lay out some kind of a pad, a towel. And I have several of these. They have a curve built into them. And what I have it is real rough, and I think this is 60 or 80 grit paper. And I can wrap it right around here. And I can get out all the carving marks. And I like to do this at a point in time that I'll look it up at the light every once in a while. If I see any spots I'm getting light on, candle it. This is going to be time consuming, and I'm only going to get one block done today anyway, so. And what I try to do is just get constantly candling it up to the light and then make the equivalent of a canoe out of it. Now I'm leaving enough material up here because the take apart features are going to mount here, and I may or may not want. I can always get in there and hollow that out. And I'm going to want to have an edge of probably 64th plywood. When this goes on the plane, I want to be able to use this to either make a mount or make something that's going to hold this together. So, but back here, I want to get it down, if I can, to 1/8 inch. So in the course of this day, this session, this is now ready. It's just a tad, maybe a 64th thicker than it needs to be, because again, I want to do all that final blending on a fuselage when it's done. Now the next time we have a session, we'll work on the next block, and then the last one will be the cowl. I'm just reversing the order in which they were carved. But in between, we want to see what the weather's like. We may get a flying day in here sooner or later. Some photos in the mail today, in the email, for the Reno races, and Rich Oliver sent us the one of the Tiger Cat. This looks like the AT6 race. The view we all know going around the pylons. And by the way, one of the high points of a couple of years ago was my ride in the AT6 doing aerobatics. The guy let me do aerobatics, and I got it on video if you want to see me suffer. It's pretty pathetic. Now that yellow one might be the one I flew in. The one I flew in was yellow, I know that. Some cool ideas for paint jobs if you like checkerboards. Anyway, we haven't given up on our idea of trying to make it to the 2007 Reno races, but you know how things go. Check out the home. Look at the wingtips. Check out the Miss Ashley type wingtips here. Testarossa wingtips, whatever, flight streaks. You name it. Love those wingtips. Look at the landing gear on these. The wheel pants blend right into the wing. Look at a rudder. Cool rudder shape. Now the caption for this picture is the fastest sport aircraft, which these are now faster than the slowest unlimiteds. Unbelievable. Okay, looking for some really complex paint job. Looks like Rich Oliver in a cockpit here. There's some nice paint work in a bipe class. This looks like an aerobatic bipe, not a racer. Oh yeah, he's not a racer. They don't race with a guy standing on the top wing. I know that for a fact. And we've got this guy, the farmer. They call him the farmer. He does this routine with one aileron missing and stuff. And you know what? When Skyfire used to make the videos every year, we always subscribed to their videos. And we had it now, the last, I guess since 2001 is the last one we got. No more Skyfire. I wonder what happened. And of course he lands on an RV, on Warren Walker's RV here. This is the new Rojet ARF engine. 4,000 horsepower. Strega. Now that's a Strega right there, baby. Now, one of the good ideas that I thought would be really cool, you know, would be for somebody to take a Strega ARC and turn it into a Voodoo with some purple monocoat. Let me get the phone. Voodoo, Voodoo, Voodoo. That would make a great modification to a Strega ARF. Purple monocoat. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a hole in the engine here. Quite a significant size hole too. I'm not sure what that's all about. Looks like a rod came through the case. Looks like the case is broken in half. See, now if we had the Skyfire videos, they usually cover this stuff. They're giving you a $10 donation and you can take a piece of a Merlin home. Here's the rods, I guess, came through the case on that one that just went by. Here's what happens to a piston in a Rojet when you have detonation. Check that out. Now Rich Oliver says this never happens to Rojets, so I guess we and it hasn't to me yet, but then I'm not at the Reno races. Here's another idea. Get a Strega ARF and turn it into precious metal. Turn it into something. Whirljet. Look at those props. If those props don't make your blood boil. That's what kept me going during many, many years of building, thinking about those Contra props. Quite a nice set of pictures, I have to admit it. Al Raby and his evil twin brother, Rich Oliver, taking off. This could be my personal, I love Jelly Bellies. My God, I love Jelly Bellies. A little known fact, and you might have seen in old DVDs and videos, I'm wearing a Jelly Belly shirt. The way you get a Jelly Belly shirt is you join the Jelly Belly Club, and they send you samples every month for free. Of course, you got to buy the shirt for 10 bucks. Oh man, Cafaro, eat your heart out, Cafaro. This is Cafaro's, the one he's building, the P51, early one. The little scoop right behind the spinner, cool. Maybe that'll look cool on the 90 ship, I don't know. You never know where you're going to get an idea, especially when you're in the middle of carving and hollowing and scooping and duping. And boy, what a great year the year of the Tiger Cat was. What a year. Number 38, by the way, that's Miss Ashley's number. Anyway, what a great set of pictures. Here's Rich Jacobone's competition in the Gull Wing Stunner Award category. That would have looked good on Kurt Molinex's Corsair even. And guess who number 7 is? Strega. Strega. Look up on the nose how they got the, and I tried copying that and I did it all by hand. What you see in your Strega ARF thing, I did all that artwork by hand, and I have the video to prove it. Anyway, got my blood boiling for some Reno racer ideas. And there's the gold winner, September Fury. Quite a cool paint job. Check out the paint job. Anyway, I always get ideas looking at this stuff. That's certainly a wild paint job. Midgley, Eat your heart out. See, that's what Midgley's Reno Air Racer would look like if he could afford one. But he's spending all his money on Mustangs, so he doesn't have the money for a Sea Fury. But he does have an ARF. And we may be getting together with him, I hope, real soon, so he can come down and fly ours.
Hi there.
So, what is today? Today is your lucky day, right?
Today's a good day.
Today's a good day because
I'm picking up my
you're getting an ARF.
jacket.
Getting your fur jacket today. Oh, lucky girl. So, the deal is, it's raining. It's just a little drizzling, but Brian wants to go up to the field. So we'll go up there and see if we can get a couple of flights, and then we'll go get your jacket.
Sounds great.
Lucky us. Well, it doesn't look real promising, to be honest. This doesn't look like it's going to be the best day of the year, but well, we're going to try to get some flights anyway in between the raindrops. And then, of course, the big trip down to Flemington to get Sweetie's coat. Hey, it seems like every day that we go past this body shop, even in a pouring rain, there's some cool cars here. Not a 409. Well, that could be fake. Anyway. Lucky me, it looks like the rain is letting up, but it's still dripping and drooling, but we really do want to get some flights. Well, we got rained out today, but look, there's a Hemi Cuda over there too. I'm not sure what this is all about, but they're loading up all these custom cars here. We're gonna run up to the bunker and see Rich's progress on his Stuka. It's a rainy day, and it ain't stopping.
See,
I wanted to see what it's... All right.
I was bringing it over to my house.
Bring it inside, because it's still dripping and drooling out here.
That's why I wrapped it.
I don't want to fly Jose's motor while it's raining like that. Even just drizzling, you get water in a motor or something, forget it. Who made you these screensavers? Look at this guy. What a...
That's Rich Peabody.
Oh, look at these Bill Hummel's on a screensaver.
Bill Hummel and,
how come I'm not? How come the Testarosa's not on
and,
there?
what's his name? He made it before you had the Testarossa.
Ah, now look at this.
Yeah, I was building my Strega.
Oh, look at this. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Come on, let me see the wing. Let's see how this is coming.
Wrapped up and everything.
Ah, Matt Newman's looking forward to this next video, baby.
Yeah, but don't look
He
at
wants
that.
to see your cockpit detail. Let's see.
Don't look at that workbench too close.
This is that heavy top block. Oh my God, that thing's a
it's only-
ton. It's a ton.
It's only 40 grams. It's 40 grams. I've been working on this cockpit.
That's looking
now all
nice.
day.
I know.
All,
Hey,
all week.
I know. I made the video. I know how long it takes. You have to convince me. The little seats? Yeah, that looks nice.
Got the seats.
Oh, beautiful.
I got the rudder
Beautiful.
control.
Well, listen, you got to make Matt Newman crazy. That's all there is to it.
Look at this.
You got the guns in the back? Oh, look
Look
at
at the
this.
bandolier.
All right.
That's,
Oh, all right. Look at this. Oh, my God. You really have talent. You should have told me
what
this.
happened to the other one?
Where's all my cockpit stuff? I'm not going to have any
I got it.
cockpit
I'm
stuff.
going to give it to you.
Yeah, I see you got the thing in the back. You got the book over there.
Oh, here's
Good.
the other one. There's the other.
Yeah, they look nice.
This one I salvaged from the wounded warbird,
The wounded one?
you know.
Yeah, whenever you
That cooked
crash
out.
a plane, go over and get the cockpit. Save the
And
cockpit.
This is where the bandoliers are going to be attached to.
I see, yeah. I see where you have the,
I got the picture there.
yeah.
This thing is driving me nuts.
In my bomber book the kids got me for Christmas, there's a thing about the Stukas. I'll show it to you. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But see, this is the picture that I'm following.
But without this, you don't have a Stuka. Then you've got,
Well,
you
that's
know,
the thing, you know.
you have bupkis.
I want to give you this.
There you go.
This is all your cockpit stuff.
This is my cockpit stuff?
Yeah. I really didn't take much of it. All I did was take a couple of,
Well, you got the right idea with the Model Master paint.
Yeah.
This is nice flat paint
Yeah.
for doing this.
you know.
Walt Russell had a nice cockpit in his one of the planes that he had. I don't
It takes so
remember which one.
much time, Wendy. It's
Oh,
amazing.
tell me about it. All these little things. You want to build a model railroad?
This took me.
I know.
Now what I have to do is touch up the where the glue
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Touch that up.
You make the things out of sandpaper.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I made it out of sandpaper.
Because the sandpaper is dull.
Yeah.
And it has a
And-
texture to it. Yeah, look,
and,
you even got the colors right here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, marara.
I wanted to make another gun, but I said no, it's too much. See, I wanted to make something more sophisticated
Yeah,
than this.
no, that looks
Because I
good.
know with your talent, you can get a gun with the holes drilled in it.
I got the guns on a B-25. Les drilled all the little holes. You just get Les. Hey, wait, you know, get Les to do it.
Ah, see, if I can get him to do that, then I'll make another gun with the holes drilled.
Yep.
See, like
yep.
that.
Oh, I know.
But you
It takes time.
you need special equipment to drill.
Time.
holes
That's
like
why I have an ARF.
that, you know.
Thanks to that ARF,
And
I
here's
got
one-
him behind the 8 ball now, building my own plane.
Here's one of the flaps.
Okay, that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that's all right.
This is the other one. The other one, this one is done.
They're going to be nice. You got the taper in them and
Yeah.
everything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're a ton.
Oh, they're not.
You made a mistake, though. Remember, the grain is supposed to go with the trailing edge, not this. See how you got the grain? You got the grain. You made this the grain. The grain is going here. You want the grain to go along the trailing edge.
Oh, you mean the straight
But
part.
this is so thick, I don't think it'll matter. When you make three...
It's not finished yet. I gotta
Nah.
still sand some more off.
See, quarter-inch flaps, it's critical. But you make these big fat things, it's not critical.
I'm gonna sand some more stuff
Yeah.
off of this. This is not
Yeah.
done yet.
No, it looks good. I'm impressed. It was worth the trip up here, even if I didn't get any flights today. Man, I got to get Karen her coat this afternoon, so she's all excited. Yeah, she's sitting home making lunch. Come home, we'll go get the coat. Oh,
She's all excited.
oh yeah, she's excited about that coat like I am about your Stuka here.
I tell you one
This looks nice, Rich. You're doing good.
Good, thanks.
Don't rush it, though. Don't get tempted.
No, I'm not.
You know, if you remember the B-25?
Oh, I know.
I had it done for Brodeck, but I had never flown it.
I have your,
Don't rush it. That's the
I have
key.
your video of making detail.
Right, the Spitfire
And I
one,
just
yeah.
followed,
Just copy it,
you know.
that's all.
This weighs 40 grams, but I'm gonna take some more stuff off on the sides.
I just did my bottom block the other day, and I just kept sanding and sanding until it's like,
See, I'm gonna sand some more off on the
Yeah.
inside, and then on the outside, I have to sand to make this smooth.
and once you get, see, if you make this a little bit bigger, then once
do.
you have the outside, then you could sand even more, and just keep pressing it. Because once you dope and tissue that, it gets solid. Oh, that body's gonna be
Let me
nice.
just take this one out. I just wanted to
Whoa.
let it sit in there to
Yeah,
see how this fits.
let me see how the nose came out on this.
Came
No,
out.
out here, you made, that's good. You got the carbon fiber in there like we
Oh, yeah,
did?
yeah.
We did on my ship?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And there's enough room for that header, and that's the longest one there is.
but I don't want it this long.
No, they're gonna be shorter, but mine is at 2 inches
I
shorter.
gotta
but-
take some more material off this former, because you see the head
Yeah,
hits.
yeah.
See it hits there?
Well,
I gotta cut that more.
you could take my spare, the case that doesn't have an engine, just the case, with the short header, because that's
Okay.
the one you're gonna use
Yeah,
when you
okay.
when you fly the plane.
Yeah.
The shorter ones work better than the long ones anyway. I don't wanna have that long one in there.
But-
And Rich Oliver's latest header, the one I'm testing in a plane now, it swoops up.
Oh, that's good.
Solid. Wait to see how nice it looks in a plane too. No oil at all. Zero oil.
It fits okay. You know, everything.
Yeah, the cowl looks good. Oh man, this is
And
looking
the
good.
turtle deck, I got so much.
You got a camera? You can take some pictures of this?
Nah, I don't take pictures, you know that.
Well, when you're over the house, I'll take mine with my camera. Get some pictures for Control Line World. That looks good. Yeah, that looks nice.
And I got the rudder all made. The rudder looks good.
I saw the rudder already. You didn't get the canopy for Midgley yet?
Waiting.
The only problem with all this stuff is it takes time.
Oh,
Man, it's not like
all-
building a
all-
Cardinal.
all week I concentrated on making this. This
Yeah.
took me. This took
I
me
know.
3 days.
I know.
All day.
You're talking to the choir.
Here.
I know. Look,
And I'm
look,
not
he's
done yet.
telling me, right?
I gotta put a couple of lights up here.
Yeah, jewels.
You know, I have.
You got the jewels?
Yeah.
I buy those jewels in the
Yeah.
craft store. Yeah, let's see the side view here. Oh, that's gonna look nice. I bet Al's gonna like this.
Al who?
Al who? Al Knight, of course.
Oh.
Oh man, no, Al will like this. Believe me.
See, when I put a little screen here,
Yeah, oh yeah.
because that's the.
I got to start the scoops on mine this week. I got the fuse like almost where you are, a little less behind
I
than
gotta
you
clean
are.
this workbench. I feel like a pig, you know, because your phone rings once in a while. I gotta.
Oh, I know.
I gotta stop. Last
Yeah.
night I was here last night till 6 o'clock.
That
you
looks
know?
good, Rich. That's gonna be some plane.
This is the other bandolier, and I said after I got finished cutting that bandolier, I says that's it. I'm going home.
It makes you crazy, huh?
That's it. See?
Yeah, I know.
It looks good, you know, when you look at it,
Oh, yeah.
you know, between the
Now, you know what you could have done with this? I'm just thinking, you could do this all with a pencil, with an ink, or you did with an
I
ink
did.
marker. Get a fine, Sharpie fine thing.
I did.
And you should make the tip of the bullet silver. Get a silver ink
yeah.
marker.
Yeah, yeah.
Do the tip of the bullets in silver. See, that's the kind of little stuff that
Yeah,
jumps
that-
out.
that jumps out.
You don't
Look-
think about it, but then all of a sudden.
Well, what happens is when you see it behind the canopy,
Right.
you only see certain things. You
See what jumps out at you too? These rivets.
Yeah.
Now, if you do, where's your if you just took the silver ink marker and just put dots, they make
yeah,
that
yeah.
the silver dots look unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And what you do, you buy about 10 of those markers because the tip gets fat right away.
But where do I get them?
The art supply store.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Staples.
Hold it less. See if he can drill some holes.
Oh, Les will make that cannon up. He made mine beautiful.
See,
The
then-
B-25.
That's where it belongs, like that. See?
Yeah, that looks good. That's all the little details that matter.
Glue it in there like this.
Yeah. I'm getting ready to do the side scoops. I made a prototype of the side scoops. So now I got to mold up all the parts
See,
and...
this is...
Yeah.
It's
Get
crazy.
used to it.
It's crazy.
Hey, don't worry. When you're in that front row with the big kahunas, the big tunas, or whatever they are.
Well, see, I got to put a little glue here because otherwise vibration is going to go crazy.
You know who's going to love this? Bill Rutherford, too. He's another guy appreciates this.
No, Al Rabe.
Bill Rutherford, too. He knows
Al
about this
Rabe.
stuff.
He likes that. You know,
Yeah.
the semi.
See, this is what when Rich Oliver finishes up the Focke Wolf. This and the Focke Wolf and the
Yeah.
big Adamusco Spitfires that we're going to do, the 90 Spitfires.
I'm anxious for
We
him
can have
to
our
get
own
going.
contest.
You know, I'm anxious for him to start with that folk wolf.
Yeah. Well, he's busy too. We're all busy. That's the problem.
And you can only handle so many different.
That's right.
projects.
No, I know.
You know?
I know. No, I think you're on a path to success here, my boy. Now, if we could just make it stop raining, we could get some flights today.
Yeah, it's going to look good.
Yeah, it looks
And
nice.
that's the right size. That's the right
That's
size. right?
nice. The other thing too, you're going to have to really do right, and don't skimp the wheel pants. Don't go
Oh, I
making them.
know. Oh.
If you make them that they look like when it's flying along, it's crooked. It's going to look like a horse's petunia here.
Johnny D brought me this.
What, a block?
Yeah.
Oh, for wheel pants, good. Yeah,
wheel
and
pants.
hollow them all out.
You know?
Oh, I know.
And I told him, I said, gee, you know, I'd like to pay you. No, that's okay. You hold on to it. And if I need anything, I know where it is.
Don't worry, we're going to take care of Johnny D. Now,
He took a piece off of this.
when is his
I have-
birthday? His birthday's the 24th?
24th.
We got to plan this surprise thing we're going to do for him with the ARF.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Now, while we were over here, we're planning John DeTavio's surprise birthday party and his upcoming gift and everything.
2.5 inches.
What I did is I was looking at this, and this is important. And you know what? I picked this up from Al Raby, is looking at things over and over and over and over, and just,
Yeah,
when
it's-
you look at how big that rudder is,
It's 6 inches.
it's not big enough. I'm telling you something. When I was sitting over at your desk and I was looking at this, all of a sudden the rudder's starting to look like it's too small. I would make it a little bit bigger. You know, it's an easy part to
I
make.
know that. It's 2
It-
inches. Yeah. 2.25 inches.
You got this aspect
this-
ratio here. How thick this is
And this is
times,
almost, it's 5 7/8.
it's not big enough. I'm telling you something. It should be bigger.
You
And it
think
should-
be an inch higher?
Nah, a half an inch. And you will see a half an inch.
Oh, I
Mate,
know.
got a piece of cardboard?
Yeah.
Go get a
I
piece
have-
of cardboard.
I have a, pattern.
See, and with a 90, the thing I'm afraid of, if the rudder isn't big enough and after the plane is built, you got to make it bigger. What I did on Strega, you know what I did on Strega? On my Strega, I made the rudder bigger. You know why? Because you got the big prop. This is going to have a big prop. Yeah, make it a half inch even. I'll bet you'll notice it immediately.
Well, I'm going to make it
Immediately.
3/4 of an inch.
Because that's a critical.
Critical mass.
If that starts looking small, the plane's going to look all cockeyed. And if you don't change your mind, it's okay with me. I'll still love you. Just not quite as much. Hey, I was making paper dolls the other day till I was in paper doll heaven. It's a lot easier to do now than later. Believe me.
You know.
I like your screensaver here. You ought to have Peabody make me a screensaver too. Oh, there's Drindak and Hummel. Oh, and John. Yeah, John Pothia made me a Chickie screensaver. I got a Chickie that comes up and turns around and everything. Let's see how this is going to look, my boy.
Good.
It's good that you have this little plastic model here too. You can kind of look at how big that rudder relative to the fuselage in the back. And I understand the fuse is bigger than normal, but still it jumps out at you. That rudder is big. Like it or not, that's a big rudder on it. And that's good because with the 90, you're going to have a big prop. Spitfires are coming. Screensavers are coming. Look at where you got Chickie buried here. What the hell are you doing to Chickie's picture? Look at this. I'm buried by what? By what? John Wayne? You better put Chickie out in a place of honor, or he's going to come back. He's going to come back to haunt you, baby.
It slid down.
Okay, you put it on a piece of cardboard now. Now you can stick it up there, and you can hold. Let's take it outside. I want to stand 50 feet away. See, and you didn't take into account the height of the canopy either. Oh, that looks much better, Rich. Much better. You want to go outside, and I'll hold it, and walk 50 feet away. 70 feet away.
Together, then.
Tape it all up with some tape. It's a critical thing.
It's a critical mass. Watch my wing.
Plus another thing, if it's too big, it's a lot easier to cut it down and just touch up the paint than to make a new one after that's all finished and everything. Oh man. Tape it up, baby. You'll get to look at it just like as if the plane is flying too. Don't forget you're going to have a bottom on this plane too.
Yeah, but the bottom is only maybe...
How thin, a quarter of an inch?
Maybe 3/8.
Okay.
It's
not raining out there now. We could look at it right outside. You don't even have to... You got room there. I'll hold it for you. Jose Modesto showed up here at the bunker. So, just stand like the equivalent of how far away this would be. No. Go up on the grass. Go all the way up by the garbage cans.
Oh, this is flying lane.
This is how we did the B-25. Joe Adamusco held up the plans. I walked back 70 feet away and said, I'm building it. Much better. Luckily, it's an easy part to make over. It's not like the cowling or something. That's going to be a mean-looking plane, boy. Okay.
Well, you're gonna.
Now he's got more towels, more...
Can I see the seats? Are
Yes,
are
absolutely.
wet?
Oh, yeah.
Here, look at this, Jose. Look at this.
Look at the stuff he's making.
Look at
Joe Adamusco would even be impressed.
Look at the bandolier.
Right,
Oh.
right.
With the machine gun?
Yeah, for the machine gun.
Cool.
The instrument panel.
Oh, there you go.
This is for
Right,
the
right.
outer section.
Oh, just this is the outer section.
Yeah.
So you have multiple inner section and
Yeah,
outer section.
yeah, it's like the B-25. Same as the B-25, except this doesn't have the motors in between.
Yeah.
Put that on, let's see how it looks.
That's out there. Oh, okay.
Oh, you got nice sanding on. I'm apologizing. But I gotta make special horns.
See, I gotta trim this.
I gotta make horns where the flap joints are.
See, I
Yeah.
want to see exactly what kind of lucky boxes that Windy is.
Right.
Well, it's gonna be a whole day doing, you got 6 lucky
Because there's
boxes
gonna
here,
be-
my boy.
This allows
See,
the
the,
horn.
Right, otherwise,
to get
yeah.
binding.
The only way that works is lucky boxes. Hey!
We're waiting for you.
We're waiting. We got good news for you. You're buying lunch. Well, the rain finally stopped. We're going to try to get, the objective here is get Jose to fly his motor in Strega a couple more times. Then we're going to take the motor out, hand it to him, and put our motor or Brian's motor. We could put Brian's motor in there too. Oh, Jose's already, he beat me to the punch. Anyway, this is Just about as easy as it, hopefully, as it gets, as long as we don't get rained on. I don't like to run a motor in the rain. Uh-oh, he's doing his stretching. Check this out. Jose Modesto finally getting to run his motor.
Oh, it's worn out.
With Rich Oliver's snake oil header. The rain has stopped. Oh, we made the right move going to the bunker before. Anyway, we're planning, and it's getting very difficult with planning this party for John DeTavio for his birthday. We think he's 90, he admits to 88. I'm not sure. Maybe he's 94 and we just don't know it. But anyway, we're totally, we want to get him an ARF and a 76 Rojet. I got the tail weights on there from when I was flying it. That's why it's touchy. See, we have that little tail weight thing. When Brian flies it, he likes the tail weight off. When I fly it, I put the tail weight on. But doesn't really seem to be a deal breaker, but just a little. I have a feeling when we're done, we'll be taking the tail weight off. One or the other. We'll see. It's a personal.
When you're done, everybody's going to be flying ARFs.
Personal choice. And this is Rich Oliver's header on here now. I don't know if you can see it as it goes by. And we got another test header coming. It's coming this week if we get any flying time. We haven't gotten it yet. You like the decals on the bottom, huh, Rich? Hey!
This is an ARF.
What do you think you're flying, an ARF? You always see a smile on somebody's face when they're flying the ARF. Yeah, he needs the tail weight off. So that's what's nice about having that little screw in the back. And it's only about a ½ ounce, but it totally changes the plane. Yeah. It's nice to finally see Jose wearing out Jose's engine instead of us. We've been all flying his engine, O'Brien and everybody. Very disrespectful. Now we'll take the tail weight off after this flight and he'll be a lot more comfortable, I'm sure. ARF-O-Matic. Stuka-O-Matic. Yeah, that big rudder's a good idea, Rich.
That's no big deal.
That's when it's, and you know, especially because you're going to be painting it yellow, part of it yellow anyway. That's a biggie.
It's going to weigh more, though. It's more mass, more weight.
I've given up on getting you to build light. You may as well be building a house.
My first Stuka, I didn't want to put wheel pants on it. Oh, no, you got to have wheel pants on. Oh, no, you got to have detail.
Let me tell you, when Joe Adamusco sees that canopy detail, he's going to pat you on the back, baby.
Between you and Joe Adamusco, that's why the plane weighs what it weighs.
No, it's not.
Oh, no, you got to have wheel pants. You got to have that. You got to have this, you got to have that. Okay.
Don't worry, you're going to be the hit of Brodax when you get that done. Matt Newman will just run out and jump on his sword when he sees your Stuka. He'll go out in the parking lot and go, oh, it's time to quit. I've been out-Stuka'd.
I just hope it flies reasonably well.
It will, don't you worry. It will. There's no plane, I've never had a plane that I couldn't make fly reasonably. The rest is up to you. And you gotta be the one to get in shape, baby. I want to see you doing those push-ups and leg-ups and everything.
I'm gonna have to do
Get in the-
push-ups with that 90.
Get in the best shape, do Pilates and everything.
As Woody might say, when I flew that 90, it nearly yanked me off my seat.
Ah, what a baby, what a
On a wing
baby.
over. Oh!
Now, did it feel you want to take that tail weight off? You want to leave it like that? All right, how about the speed? Faster or slower? Okay. Stay out there, I'll fuel it up. We still got fuel. And we got a launch boy, as long as we can keep launch boy busy here. No, we're just doing flip and fly. He says he wants to leave the tail weight on. Okay, we'll see. Maybe he just needs a couple flights to get used to it, but we had to call Karen and tell her coat has been put on hold. As we're flying here, Neil Beekman is monocoating Jose's ARC, so maybe in a week or two he'll be out here with his. He'll have his motor. It's already been run in. He'll take the header with him. I'm just not sure you could really make it a lot easier than this for somebody. And we'll have to see how Jose's pans out. Be interesting to have 2 or 3 of them here. Ryan's been working on his. I like the look with the decals on the bottom too. It's too bad our Rojet decals didn't stick to the monocoat. That would have been cool. John Cafaro's supposed to send me some Ferrari decals. I guess he thinks I'm going to put holes in my monocoat. And of course Jose has the Ukrainian ARF, so he can fly him back to back and decide what he likes. It's all in the eye of the beholder. Trust me, they're both good. We got to start seriously thinking about our. We got to get those blocks hollowed. Got to get the scoops started. But every day that's flyable, we've been out here arfing it up and trying to get Rich Oliver some good data. He's got his finished already. Try to spread the word. We have our Strega little ARF mail out list going. I feel raindrops as we're into Jose's flight. This plane, one thing this plane does real nice is the top of the hourglass. It's got a very comfortable feel up there, very easy to steer it. We're getting rained on, yeah. I gotta get the camera out. Get it out of the rain. These cameras do not like I see drops. It's raining pretty good now. Well, I'd say we got Jose's ready to put that motor in his plane. We better get out of the rain. It's pouring again.
I know, you gotta read this up.
Yeah, I'll reel it in. Raindrops keep falling on my head. And it's back to raining on Jose's parade. Started out rainy, ended rainy.
I've had this 2 years.
No, it was rubbing on here.
Right there it goes.
It's rubbing.
Okay.
That doesn't matter. That's no problem. That ain't gonna hurt anything. That might even help the vibration control. Right, so you're gonna take Rich Oliver's header.
Right.
Okay, you work it out with him. I'm gonna put my motor back in. We'll be ready to go flying tomorrow. Just,
If the weather,
Why don't I just pay you now and then because he sent it to you.
that's okay. You can do that.
That way we're-
Well, cash,
I'm
trust me,
liable
cash
to-
works everywhere.
I'm liable to forget. It'll be a week and then I don't hear my...
And just like that, it's back to being the ARF it always was. And we're headed out to go get Karen her coat on a rainy It was disappointing, it was good, and then it was disappointing again. But we did get flights. As the ARF always steps up to the plate and you always seem to get flights. It's got an amazing track record. Well, it's only an hour and a half ride, but we're at lovely Flemington Firs. Ooh. Looks crowded.
They have a January sale now.
They have a sale?
I saw the sign on the highway.
A sale on road jets? And believe me, if it wasn't raining, Jose and I would still be at the flying field. We wouldn't be down here.
So you have to get a motorcycle.
I have a motorcycle already. I don't need a motor. Now she'll look good on the back of my Harley.
She needs a hat now.
No, she looked at hats. She didn't want a hat. Come on, turn around, Karen. Hello. Everybody in the showroom's watching her.
Look, does it feel as
Look, everybody's looking. You all are on Windy Videos. Just be there. So there's the bottom line. You want to make your wife happy for Christmas, buy her a fur coat. It's as simple as that. Get her a road jet and a fur coat. There's our next project is to figure out these scoops. That's a heavy duty unit, my boy. Anyway, Brian gets here and it was raining when he got here, but as you can see, we're going to try to sneak a flight or two in, like a Jose. We got 2 flights and then it started raining. Jose got a bath. We go up and get a couple flights, the heck with it. See, I didn't want to fly the plane with Jose's engine in it in the rain, but with my engine, no problem. I'll put some after-run oil in if we run it and it starts raining. The birds are loving you, Brian. What is that, a little compressor?
Funky pipes?
Yeah. Is this the little welder that you got?
That's the welder.
You're going to get some headers made for us?
I don't know. I was reading. I got to get different shielding gas for aluminum.
You should talk to Scott Dinger. He's the master of that stuff.
Well, you can get information right on the internet. I mean, I'm far from.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked to.
But you see the beautiful work he did? I mean, it's awesome.
He's probably doing, TIG welding and stuff.
Well, whatever it is, I don't care. It's just
When I
at
come
last.
across this stuff, I said,
Yeah, don't throw that away. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Don't throw that away, Artnowski. Go buy your wife a fur coat. I got Karen her coat yesterday, so she's happy. Yeah, this we could make some nice headers with this.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, that's all AC.
Ooh, that's nice and thick. This is all aluminum too.
Yeah, that's why rather than throw it out, I even got some.
What OD is this?
I don't know. It's all different. It's probably metric because it's.
Oh, this is off cars.
Yeah, this is all AC stuff.
Ow.
So,
all right, but that'll weld up. If nothing else, you can practice on it.
Yeah, it costing me nothing. But I'm there.
Well, so what? A mess, you clean it up. Well, you want to try to get a couple flights here, Rainy boy?
Yeah, I guess. I got nothing else
You're
to
talking
do.
me into it. I'm not going to sit home this afternoon. Karen's going to her class. I'm not sitting home. And Rich Oliver's pipes are in the oven, so I don't care. Let's go flying. Get this junk out of here. Let's go flying.
I gotta just.
Now it sounds like this wouldn't be a big deal, but here's a day. Brian comes over the house. I was making pipes all day, so the rain stopped. You run down the field and get a flight. Now, there's no way the Testarossa comes out here today. There's no way an I-beam plane, all Jap tissue comes out here, or no silk span, I mean. But hey, if you have an ARF, you get extra flights. And actually, it turned out to be not an awful day, it's a reasonable day. There's no doubt in my mind that the ARF has added a dimension of getting more flights, getting them under a wider range of conditions. And in Brian's case, he's learning how to, you know, he's going to have one soon, getting familiar with it, learning all the idiosyncrasies of it right now. So when he gets his online, probably a couple weeks from now, it'll be like an old friend. And the only thing it's a problem here, you can see, if you have to back up, you got right in a puddle. In fact, the whole field is like a lake. Lake Palisade Park. And I've learned a lot about trimming a plane from having other people fly the plane. In fact, with Brian, I think what I'll do, I forgot to take the tail weight off. See, he over controls. So I'm going to see if he likes, if he wants to, I'll just take the tail weight off. But boy, is it nice. Here we are, middle of January. Middle of the day, you get out here, you get a couple flights. It's really nice. It's a treat. Something if we did not have ARFs, I'm not sure we'd be doing this. We'd be home watching football or something. Anyway, poor Karen, she's about as happy as anybody's ever been with that coat. She loves that coat. I thought some of the women in our illustrious audience would get a kick out of that. And believe it or not, she won't let me even try it on. She knows I'm going to wear it on windy videos or something. Now another thing I'm figuring out here as we go along is, because we still haven't made our dedicated trim video, and I need to get more flights because there's just such a wide range of stuff to do, a wide range of possibilities here, but the one part of it that's been absolutely idiot-proof is the 76 Rojet. And it doesn't matter which Rojet it is. I'd like to get other people's Rojets in here and see if we can find one that's different. They all seem very, very similar. They even use the same amount of fuel. Same run character. And they all love those 14.5 rev ups. So if you're out on eBay or one of these crazy websites and somebody's got some for sale, buy them all. Nice match of a prop. You want to take the tail weight off or not? Now it's really gotten misty here. The thing we're trying to do, we got the tail weight off the plane for Brian, is develop a CG that he's happy with, and we ought to be able to put that right on his plane. He always seems more comfortable with the tail weight off, and so we'll just leave it off for the rest of the day. But so we have it in a box, we can just put it on, take it off. It's about 3/8 of an ounce total that I found out worked for me. And what's really useful information, if you have one, like in this case, let's just make a scenario up. Brian's getting to fly mine, and we'll measure the CG without the tail weight, and when he balances his, we'll bench trim it, and we'll bench trim it right to that CG. Set the handle at the same opening. That should save, you know, at least some time at the field. Pre-trimming the plane, and that's the information we want to get on our, basically on our dedicated ARF trim DVD when this is all over, once we get some more fuel through these. See how different it turns with the tail weight off, much flatter. But now, you know, and we all know the reality here. There's no secret to what the reality is. You go to some contests where the judges don't mind if you wiggle and waggle a corner, as long as it's a sharp corner. If you dart and dance all over the sky, you get points. Other contests, they look for better geometry, smoother corners. You could figure that all out, and it's all in the mind's eye anyway. But having that tail weight, we can make it really jump, and with the tail weight off, we can make it turn really unbelievably good flats. And you can change it. I mean, if you're the only ones going to fly the plane, it's pretty easy. The other thing it'll allow you to do is somewhere down the road copy the CG that I've gotten used to, if you think that'll work for you. Or if you're at Brian's skill level, you might be able to copy what worked for Brian. And I mean, it just doesn't get a lot easier than that. And that's the part you can only do after a lot of flying. You can't do it because we need to do it under a lot of different conditions. See, much better flats here, much better flats, not overturning it. He's much more happy with that. And you can go to contests where that'll buy you a nice score, and you can go to some contests where you just wiggle your tail all over the place, and people tend to score that high. But that's what's nice about our event, is that there's no one magic stunt pattern that's going to win you every contest. If there was, the charm of the event would be gone. It'd kind of be like if all the women in the world looked alike. I'm not sure. That part I'm not sure. Anyway, when Brian's done, I'm going to put the tripod up and try to get some flights, but I like to look back at the flights. And since the next couple days I'll be working on Rich Oliver's pipes intensely, it's nice to play those flights over and over and over, and I'd rather listen to that than to Donald Trump and Rosie mud wrestling. And there's something, while you're building, it's just nice, I think it's nice to have the sound of an engine, even if you don't have a VCR, just make an audio tape of engines running. It's just, same thing with the model railroad, the sound is part of it. Whenever we get together and run trains, the sound is a big part of it. I like to look with the decals on the bottom, so. Now it's funny, the Brodak decals stuck pretty well in the ones that Rich made, Rich Oliver, and maybe they're just different material, I don't know. Mackerel.
Because it's the San Diego D.
Nothing stops Brian and Wendy from flying. Pouring rain, geese flying through the field. We're getting flights today. One of the good things we're getting accomplished is Brian is really, really liking it. And we've gone through the better part of a gallon of fuel on a day we didn't even plan on coming out here because of this. Yeah, it's getting cold now though. It was warmer earlier in the day. It seems like we're getting down toward the end of the day here and it's getting cold. But there's an amazing difference between when you're turning flat and some people a little bit tail weight, and there's a fine line. You walk right on that fine line all the time. So, but without further ado, I don't know how late Brian wants to stay. Maybe we'll get a couple more flights. We are really, this is an amazing day. That's the thing with ARFs. You never know, you just come out, and days you never even would come to the field, you wind up burning a gallon of fuel. It gets expensive. We try to move the camera, I still want Brian to get the majority of the flights because basically to find out his CG and my CG and how close they are, that's going to be a critical piece of information for our term CD. So even on this rainy day, flights, more flights. Just couldn't be better.
The lack of oil.
Nah, you got nothing on there.
There's
Nothing.
I wipe the bottom of your flight box.
You know, but you get that's a whole day of flying. We didn't wipe it between flights either, so I like that. All that stuff about the tune pipes keeping planes clean.
That much, that inch or so away from the plane makes all difference.
Well, all I know is it was a wet, cold, rainy day. Brian was very happy we got flights. I was real happy. Between this 90 project and between the ARF, we have had one really great winter so far, and the best is yet to come. Quite a bit of time on, and it may seem, and I'm sure some people think, this is kind of a casual thing, not that important, but let me explain to you how important I think this is. Obviously, some people don't find it important. I really do. Now, what's really important, and what we're trying to get out of this last amount of time that we've spent, is the exact CG. And let me explain this. Now, the reason we haven't put any of this on the DVDs yet is we don't have a final setting. And we don't have an exact setting right to within a 64th of an inch. But I can share with you that if this balance point, if I figure out where this is going to be on the model, at some point in time, and you're watching this, and you can pick this point up, and this is a critical, often underestimated thing. A lot of people think it doesn't matter, and they get it a different way. For instance, Jimmy Casale used to just burn up 50 gallons of fuel. He got it. And then he'd build the same plane, and it's not a negative thing on Jimmy. He had his way of doing it, and he was a very successful flyer, but he had a difficult way of doing it. The easy way to do it is to realize there's a critical CG point on every model. Super critical. Now, in Brian's case, that goes forward by a certain amount. We don't have that totally figured out yet because we have that little tail weight box, and we've been putting tail weight on and off for Brian. Then there's a point at which the plane rotates, and when I say rotate, I mean it turns and stops. And it's a critical thing. I mean, you can add, in the case, if you do solder on a tail wheel, you can add a piece of solder this long to the tail wheel and it goes away. Then there's a spot at which I think it probably corners harder, and if you can get judges to buy it, well, you know, or if you're one of the lucky flyers that they don't downscore because they wiggle, well, that's all subjective. But there's these three things that we're looking for, and this is going to be on the trim DVD, and this is why we don't have it exactly yet. Now, to get this and to measure it is a time-consuming thing. What a lot of people do is they just go, and this is, they put their big fat finger under here. I'm doing this upside down. You put your finger there, it's close enough, balance on a high point of the wing, blah, blah, and they go fly the plane, and it takes a long time to get it right. Because where that rotational point is ultra critical. And I mean ultra critical. If I take this, and in the case of Brian, I put on about 1/4 ounce of tail weight, Brian's all over the sky. I take that tail weight off, he can hold bottoms all day. Same thing with me, except my CG is a little bit further back for whatever reason. My hands move more, less, hand-eye coordination, whatever. But this CG is ultra critical. Now, when I do, and I still don't have enough data, but we're gathering it every day, to do our ARF trim DVD, this is the first most important thing, is that the model balances. Now, if along comes a Spider and somebody decides they're going to put in an engine that's way heavier, if they're going to put a giant engine in here without shortening the nose, what's going to happen, it's going to be almost impossible. You're going to need soldered tail weights, and this whole thing is going to get thrown out of kilter. What happens right now is, with the 76, the lightweight carbon spinner, the lightweight carbon tank, this combination gives me a real nice CG that's within, it might be perfect, but it's at least within 1/2 of a quarter of an ounce, 1/8 of an ounce. I'm within that range with these parts. Now, with a lighter engine like my Estella has, you might need nose weight. But if you know where this critical thing is, you are so far ahead of the game. If I took Jose's model, Brian's model, and we bench trim it, and everybody's got a copy of the bench trim video. The bench, if we know this spot for this particular design, and we can set this with nose weight or tail weight right on the bench, when we get to the field, and I also can take my handle spacing, in essence what I'm giving to somebody is what's worked for me, or for Brian, or for Jose, or for Lampione, you name who it is. We've zeroed this in, and we can pass that on. That's something we can put in a bottle. We can't put everything in a bottle. Now, the things that change this, let me show you what changes this, because this is where it gets tricky. So assuming you've bench trimmed the model to this point. Now, the other factor that comes into this is how heavy is this model. Our model with the carbon fiber parts and the 76 right now is exactly 62 ounces. So you go and put your model on a scale. Now, I've got the inner tip hollowed out, I've got this block up here hollowed, a couple other little things, and the lighter elevators. So my model might be an ounce or two lighter. Here's what happens with a CG. As a model gets heavier, this CG needs to move back. So everything is based on what our designed weight is. Our design weight is 62. So you can interpolate from this, and here's the way you interpolate. If your model is, let's say, Mike's is 65 ounces, that CG is going to be back maybe a 1/16 of an inch. If you build one real light, and ARC like Brian is, his will be under 60 ounces, I'm sure. It's going to be a little nose heavy. Lighter and heavier. So that place that we talk about, the optimum, even though we can define it, we can measure it, and we can pass it on. And by the way, we always, and this is the way Big Jim basically taught me how to do it years ago, and I've passed it on. We measure from the hinge line to where the model balances. Assuming it's a straight hinge line, this is the critical number that we're looking for, and that number is going to be something like 7 1/4, 7 1/2, and that'll allow us to get a lot of other planes bench trimmed right very close to where they're going to be. It's also going to allow us to get a traditional handle setting. Now, in the case of a handle, it takes into two things: the length, the spacing of the wire, and the length of the arms. Those are the two critical factors. But we can pass on our square one. We could pass this on. So if you have a bar handle and that bar is way out here, that number isn't going to work. You'll have to come up with your own numbers. But I'm hoping that when I get time to actually shoot this final DVD, I have all this information. I've got it all logged into my book, which is about 40 pages thick now, and I'll be able to pass on good information. Now, with Bob Zambelli, Bob Dixon, and Bob Branch are all building 4-strokes. It'll be interesting to add that information. I've suggested they shorten the nose. Whether they do or not, we don't know yet. And whether they need to, we don't know. Because obviously if you didn't take the elevators and put light elevators on, this might balance, but then you'd be at 66 or 68 or something. And I feel that right around 62 ounces is where this model needs to be really competitive. Hollowing out the inner tip, replacing the elevators, Not much more than that. A little hollowing up here and there. And the fact that it's monocoat and not paint, I think this is achievable. And it's achievable with a 76. And if you want to spend the money, a carbon tank and spinner will knock another 3 ounces off. So you can pretty much decide for yourself, just like buying a car. If you want to buy a Chevy with a 6, fine. You want to put a little V8, even better. Go for the big engine. Then you want to take the engine and have it supercharged. Well, you got layers of stuff, and you can pick what suits your needs and your budget. Now here's yet another factor that comes into it. The size of the prop. If you can turn a 14-inch prop with the motor of your choice, everything is based off of that. That CG is based off the 14-inch prop. Now, if you use the standard controls, and again, this is all the standard stuff we have, the standard flap travel, standard elevator travel, the 14-inch prop, and the CG that we've used, I think you got it really close. Really, I don't think you'll be 10 flights into it, and the handle, of course. But we could figure this out. And if you can get the weight to be between 65 and 62, you are really going to have an enjoyable plane to fly. But even if you can't, what's going to happen? If you don't have slop in the elevators, and I always say 1/8 inch bushing, 3/32 rod, that allows the flaps to move, which mine do, by the way, just a little bit more. So I get a little more than standard flap travel than if I had a ball link. Well, this is a combination, and what we're always looking for is combinations that work real good. This handle setting, which we're going to put this all on the trim DVD, this elevator setting with the slop and this flap movement, this all comes together as a package. And it's something that I hope you can duplicate. And I don't think there's any part of it that's really like secret, because if you remember years ago, you'd build this design and then the guy would sell you plans, and then when you go to build it, you find out yours is 2 inches shorter or longer or something. Nah, it's not happening. Now the other thing is, we found the Raby rudder, the little linkage that we have, and we'll detail out all the dimensions of that on the trim video. These two things go hand in hand. The 14-inch prop, the Raby rudder. The Raby rudder corrects. Now, if we had it, we're running our motor, by the way, our motor's been running about 8,400 RPM. Rev up 14.5. The reason I say this is, if we start to turn more RPM, if we start turning 10,000, we have to move the rudder more. The fact that we're running lower RPM, we've got a pretty good setting now, and I've changed it a couple of times to where I think I can give you exact dimensions on the trim video. And if you don't want to add it, you'll have a little bit of wiggle. It'll probably be, here's the things you probably won't have. The wing over pull-out reverse will be a little soft. In outside rounds, the top will get a little tentative. In outside squares, it'll wiggle. On the square 8s, it'll have a little softness here. On vertical maneuvers, the top might or might not be soft. Hourglass is where it really comes into play. And maybe other places too. But the idea of using it is you can use less tip weight. And what the less tip weight gives you is a much softer feel. Solid, as Lampione said, solid, but it never gets overpowering. And then when you need that extra little tension, it kicks in. When you don't need it in level flight, it isn't sitting there like you have a brick on the end of the lines. So all of these things taken together, I think give everybody, and they'll be total detail. I have really put a lot of time into making this trim video as accurate as I can be. And here's the final thing is, you need to make a little gizmo like this. You can use pencil erasers. This is what I use to do all my balancing and recording. We're going to go over it on a trim video in great detail. But in the meantime, we're just gathering data every day that goes by. And I hope you can pass on everything you've gotten off of these DVDs already. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next tape.